Hello, I'm Professor Kate Bird, Director of the Development Hub, and I'd like to share with you a presentation I gave yesterday to a UNDESA webinar on digital inclusion. My presentation focuses on gender inclusion. First of all, I'd like to think about why gender inclusion matters. The first thing I would like to share is about income, finance, education, and health. So if we look at the evidence from low-income developing countries in particular, women in sub-Saharan Africa using mobile internet for business earn 50% more. So digital inclusion supports one of the SDG goals, which is around income poverty. Digital inclusion also supports financial inclusion. So women in sub-Saharan Africa using mobile money can save and invest more easily and are 35% more financially secure than those who don't. Digital inclusion also supports better education, with women in India who joined mobile-based online classes having 25% higher literacy rates. It also supports better health, with maternal mortality falling by 12% across several African countries after child and maternal health information was shared via a mobile messaging campaign. Child immunisation rates rose by 15% through women having access to online education and health information. If we move on, we can see that digital inclusion also supports increased agency, inclusion, and safety. Evidence shows that women are more able to make autonomous decisions when they're digitally included. 40% increase in autonomous health-seeking decisions in East Africa could be ascribed to women's digital inclusion. Social and political inclusion. 60% of women in online networks felt less isolated. Women accessing online civic and e-governance services are 25% more likely to be politically engaged. And what was found was that 35% of Kenyan women reported mobile phone use, meaning that they felt safer. Digital inclusion also supports self-efficacy. Women who access digital training in India and Kenya reported a 45% boost to confidence and independence. So what are the challenges that block digital inclusion for women and girls? One of the key challenges is around gender inequality. Women have lower discretionary spending and less autonomy in spending decisions, even where the money is money that they earned and hold themselves. Internet exclusion. 244 million more men than women used the internet in 2023, and Africa has the largest gender divide of 42% of men being included versus 32% of women. It also has an implication that women and girls still have poorer education outcomes. So lower literacy is a major blockage of inclusion on digital platforms. Also, fewer women have formal ID, so can't set up mobile phone accounts. So far, I've talked about inclusion and exclusion of women and girls, but obviously exclusion has an intersectional characteristic, with gender being just one driver of exclusion, albeit an important one. So exclusion is also driven by intersectional identities. For example, formal education, your mother tongue, sexuality, body size, level of poverty or wealth, and so on. So other challenges include the male dominance of software design, AI, digital, and social media platforms. These amplify patriarchal norms. So, for example, gender bias in content, recommendations, and decision-making algorithms can exclude women. Also, sexual norms and stereotyping are promoted and propagated where there is a male dominance of these spaces. Male dominance increases violence against women and girls where there is a patriarchal basis to that domination, with platforms failing to protect women from online harassment and violence because of the low priority given to gender-based abuse. Poor oversight means inadequate reporting mechanisms, limited responses to violent threats and online harassment. A very recent example of this in November 2024 is the widely shared and liked phrase, "Your body, my choice," which was coined and initiated by Nick Fuentes a white nationalist and Holocaust denier in the aftermath of the US election. So we also see that biases in AI tools designed largely by men can consolidate and deepen workplace discrimination, with AI tools used by HR disadvantaging women at work, both in the recruitment and promotion processes. Furthermore, a lack of empowering content and resources, with a failure to address women-specific needs or to contest patriarchy on digital platforms, can be exclusionary for women. So challenges in terms of access are also important, with a gender disparity in mobile phone ownership, with 785 million women worldwide not owning a mobile phone, 40% of women in Africa, Asia, and Latin America not owning a mobile phone, and 19% fewer women than men owning a smartphone in sub-Saharan Africa, compared with 23% fewer in Asia. So partly this is to do with poverty, and as I already mentioned, the differential between women and men in terms of control of discretionary spending. So the cost of data packages and top up on top of the handset can be a real barrier to women and girls. So here we're assuming mobile phone use as an access to digital platforms, because that is the most common form of access in low-income developing countries and middle and low-income developing countries. So inadequate competition and regulation of mobile phone providers contributes to these very high package prices for both data and top up. In addition, there can be many places in poorer neighborhoods and in remote rural areas which are completely off-grid, with either no power or no network. In terms of power, 770 million people worldwide cannot access reliable electricity. And in terms of network, 19% of the population in sub-Saharan Africa has no mobile phone network, and that is particularly in rural areas. So looking on, how do we include women and girls better in digital spaces? There's a lot of proven interventions for digital inclusion, and I'm just going to mention some highlights here. Affordable mobile phone devices and data plans. So GSMA's Connected Women programme increased mobile phone ownership by 15% in sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia. Also, digital literacy training for women and men in low-income countries. We see that 60% of women trained by the Equals Digital Skills Fund got a job or started an online business. So not only were they connected digitally, but this also benefited their income streams and potentially enabled them to move out of poverty. Rural women in Africa trained to become solar technology entrepreneurs by Solar Sisters are also trained in digital tools and skills, benefiting both their income streams and their inclusion. Government policy and regulation has an important role to play, as inclusion won't happen on its own, and both policy and regulatory measures are needed. An example of this is given by Rwanda's National Digital Inclusion Strategy, which encourages a supportive ecosystem and builds a partnership between government, the private sector, and NGOs. Giving a specific example of private sector innovation, if we look at mobile banking, this is both good business and inclusive. Turning towards Kenya, where M-Pesa led the way in mobile banking. It provides secure banking and savings opportunity and has increased women's financial autonomies and savings opportunities. So that's the end of my presentation for today. And I would encourage you, please, to have a look at our website, where we are going to shortly upload a short paper summarizing these points. I'd also encourage you to like and follow our YouTube channel. And if you're interested in the work and the content that we're doing, please do sign up to our newsletter, which can be found via our website, which is at devhubuk.org. And on our website, we've got a lot of amazing content, and you can sign up to our newsletter, which comes out twice a month. Bye for now. Thank you.